And maybe in a lake we might see sometimes some dragonflies, so we look up the dragonfly here. So this one looks pretty good. So it's capitalized, it's called Dragonfly01. You delete the old file and put in Fly01. Now the spelling has to be exact. It's the same as those you find in a food folder. Now let's add one more. So in most lakes there are probably little crayfish that you find on the bottom. So let's look for the crayfish. Which is this guy right here. That'd be a good food item for the fish. We'll just go back, delete this line, and input crayfish. Okay, now after you find all the food items that you want, you have to go back in and edit the different food items because they come in different sizes. And so for ant 1, this is 07.07 in inches. So that's a pretty big ant. We might want to make it a little smaller. Let's make it 0.6. And a minnow, it's 0.7 is too small. We want to make this maybe a little larger. 1.5 inches long, and maybe a little thicker. For the dragonfly, it's about the size is about right. We'll leave that. For the crayfish, we want to make it slightly bigger, so let's make that 2.0 inches, 2 inches long. And the width, think about the proportion and just input some kind of value for the width. So let's say 0.4. So now we have 4 different items that we're using for food, and this is going to show up in the main program when you play it, when you punch the hatch table, and the bitmap show up. So after we do this, then we save it. Don't forget to save it every time and exit. The last file that we're going to be looking at and edit would be the outing definition file. So this is what the outing definition file looks like. So now if you have a look at it, you see different items that you need to input and change. So over here you have to make a name for your outing. Well, let's call that Chuck's Test Outing. And over here you can give your outing, your new outing, some kind of description. You can say anything that you want, just no obscenities. Let's call it Chuck's Test Outing here. And the description is a small lake around New York. Oops. Now leave this part alone. You don't need to edit this. So over here you have the month and the date. This is time when you create the outing, or you want to designate whether it's summer or winter, whatever. So we'll leave that for now. And this is important right here. Now this is where you set actually the sound files for your outing. So by default we have a Robin 1, which is okay to use, but we want to maybe add a couple more. So I highlight it, copy, and create 2 more items. Now after you do this, minimize the window and go to your Real World Fly Fishing main folder again and click on Sound, which is right here. So what kind of bird are we gonna find in a lake around New York? So I'm not sure because I don't live there, but let's just put a couple of sounds in. How about blackbird? That sounds pretty good to me. Okay, right here is spelled blackbird with a capital. So what you do then is you delete the original line and put in blackbird dot WAV. Okay, everything has to be exact. Okay, since I'm not sure exactly what kind of birds you find around this lake in New York, but I do see a nice file called a bird's wave, and this should cover, you know, a generic bird sound. So BIRD with our capital. So we delete this line and input BIRD WAV. Now, so we have the robin, the blackbird, and the bird's wave. Actually, then you go down and look at all the other things. Now, this item talks about water clarity. Now, you have some lakes that are murky, and some are very clear. So you can set the depth that you can see actually a white object. Right here, set at 2 feet, which is average. So we'll leave that alone. And that's all there is to it. Now we'll go back to the software and check it to see if everything that we have input before is now showing in the outing. After we've made modifications to 3 files within the outing, now it's time to click on the compilation tool to see if everything we've inputted is working. So it should be 7 clicks from here. There you are. Let's open up Chuck's outing. Okay, now you see more insects floating on the water. Remember, we have added the black ant one and also the dragonfly. And usually the more flies you have floating on top of the water, the outing would have more top water activity. As you can see, the fish are already rising to the flies. So if you put no floating flies in your outing, then none of the fish will be feeding on top of the surface. So let's check the fish again. Okay, here we are. It seems to work. Here with the brown trout and the bluegill, the rainbow trout, and the smallmouth bass. So you can put as many fish as you want into your outing, but I would advise not to put too many because it gets too crowded, and I think if you have over 20 fish, it will not work. If you put too few fish in an outing, then outing becomes exceedingly difficult because you see a lot of water, and I only have, let's say, 3 or 4 fish, then you have to spend a long time finding those fish. And we're satisfied with that, so we click done and exit the compilation tool. Now one last thing, let's open up Chuck's outing again and go back into the outing definition. Now there's a feature within the software called challenge mode. Now if you want your outing to have a challenge mode, you need to set the sites that you need for the challenge mode. We do it here, so right there. So what we need to do is to enter this line, challenge site folder, and you specify the size that you want for the challenge mode. So as we only have one scene in this outing, so that's the only one we can use. So it's challenge site folder, site 01. So now it'll work also in challenge mode. So after we do this, we just save again and close it up. Now let's see if we can try this in the fishing mode. So we're going to use the cheater so we can see what's going on. Go fishing. Here's Chuck's outing. If it opens up, everything is fine, no errors, your outing is ready to go. Let's push number 1 on your keyboard so we can see the fish. There they are. And 2, you see the depth. That seems to be okay. The horizon is where it's supposed to be. And current, that looks a tad fast for a lake, but we'll leave it as it is for now. And okay, you can try fishing and try to catch a fish. Now in cheater mode, you drift a fly by where the fish are, and you're lucky, they might respawn. Here's little fish, little bluegill. Rejected that one. You don't want to make the current so fast that the fish would have a hard time chasing the fly underwater. And if the fly goes off screen, then the fish cannot be. The fish will not take the fly. Smallmouth bass. Let's try to land and see what it looks like. There you are. A nice smallmouth bass. Success. So that's all there is to it. And good luck and have fun. And I enjoy making this video, and I hope it really helps you in making your own outing. Bye for now.